In the quietude of the cosmic architecture, where the foundations of being are laid upon the invisible pillars of intention, there exists a soundless resonance known only to the spirit that has awakened from its long slumber. This resonance is the silent calling, a vibration that precedes the opening of the temporal gate and acts as the herald of a transformation that transcends the boundaries of human understanding. To understand the gravity of this moment, one must first recognize that time is not a linear progression of events, but a woven tapestry of light and shadow, where every thread is an echo of a divine thought. The temporal gate represents the junction where the fleeting moments of mortal existence intersect with the unchanging reality of the eternal, and it is at this crossroads that the divine signature is revealed to those who have the eyes to see and the heart to endure the weight of truth. The warning of the silent calling is not a shout of alarm, nor is it a proclamation delivered with the thunder of the heavens, but rather a profound and unsettling stillness that settles upon the soul like a mantle of ancient memory. It is a stirring within the marrow of the bone, a sudden awareness that the familiar shores of the material world are beginning to dissolve, and that the anchor of the self is being lifted by tides from a sea that has no name. This calling is a summons to the core of being, demanding an accounting of the light that has been carried through the darkness of the temporal journey. It whispers of the thinness of the veil and the fragility of the illusions that have sustained the ego through its wanderings in the labyrinth of form. As the soul begins to perceive the shimmering edges of the temporal gate, it encounters the first signs of the divine signature. This signature is not written in the alphabets of men, nor is it carved in the stones of the earth, but is expressed in the perfect symmetry of the unfolding cosmos and the intricate geometry of grace that governs the movement of the stars and the beating of the heart alike. It is the golden thread that connects the microcosm to the macrocosm, reminding the seeker that they are not a separate entity lost in a cold universe, but a necessary and intentional expression of the infinite mind. The signature is found in the way the morning light catches the dew upon a blade of grass, and in the way the shadows lengthen at the close of an age, signifying that every beginning and every ending is held within the palm of a singular and sovereign purpose. To ignore the silent calling is to remain trapped within the cycles of the temporal realm, bound by the laws of cause and effect and the limitations of a fragmented perspective. The warning is clear that the gate does not remain open forever, and that the opportunity to step through the threshold requires a stripping away of all that is false and heavy. The traveler must leave behind the baggage of grievances, the armor of fear, and the masks of social artifice, for only that which is essential and true can survive the transit through the gate. This process of refinement is often painful, as it requires the fire of self-observation to burn away the dross of the personality, leaving only the diamond core of the spirit. Yet this pain is the labor of a new birth, the necessary friction that generates the heat of transformation. The nature of the temporal gate is such that it exists both outside of time and within the very center of the present moment. It is the eternal now that anchors the soul to the reality of God, providing a sanctuary where the storms of history cannot reach. However, the gate is also a mirror that reflects the state of the one who approaches it. If the heart is clouded by darkness, the gate appears as an insurmountable wall. But if the heart is filled with the light of sincere longing, the gate reveals itself as a bridge of radiance. The silent calling serves to prepare the heart for this encounter, urging the seeker to cleanse the sanctuary of the inner self so that they may stand before the mirror and see not a distorted image of their desires, but the clear reflection of their divine origin. Within the silence that characterizes this calling, there is a deep and resonant harmony that aligns the individual will with the cosmic will. This alignment is the prerequisite for understanding the divine signature, as it allows the seeker to perceive the patterns of providence that have guided their path through the wilderness of the world. Every trial, every joy, and every moment of profound solitude is seen as a stroke of the divine brush across the canvas of the soul. The warning of the calling is therefore a reminder that the time for wandering is coming to an end, and that the period of preparation is reaching its zenith. The soul must choose whether to retreat into the safety of the known, or to embrace the mystery of the unknown with the courage of one who knows they are pursued by love. The architecture of the temporal gate is constructed from the substance of faith and the mortar of wisdom. It stands as a testament to the fact that the universe is not a chaotic collection of matter, but a structured and purposeful creation, where every soul has a destiny that is written in the language of the stars. The divine signature is the seal upon this destiny, a mark of ownership and a promise of return. It is the assurance that no matter how far the spirit may stray into the depths of forgetfulness, the path back to the source is always present, waiting to be rediscovered in the stillness of the breath and the clarity of the mind. The silent calling is the voice of this promise, reaching across the vast distances of time to call the children of light back to their inheritance. As the soul approaches the threshold, the warning becomes more urgent, and the atmosphere of the spiritual realm grows dense with the expectation of the coming shift. The distractions of the world lose their luster, and the voices of the mundane are drowned out by the rising symphony of the eternal. This is the period of the great isolation, where the seeker must stand alone before the gate, realizing that no other person can make the crossing for them. The relationships, the possessions, and the titles of the world fall away, leaving only the naked essence of the being to face the infinite. This solitude is not a punishment, but a purification, a way of ensuring that the soul is fully present and fully conscious for the moment of transition. The divine signature of the temporal gate is also a map of the internal landscape, revealing the hidden pathways that lead to the center of the self. It shows that the journey outward into the world was always a mirror of the journey inward into the heart. The gate is not somewhere else. It is the point of intersection where the individual consciousness realizes its unity with the universal consciousness. The warning of the silent calling is the final invitation to surrender the illusion of separation and to enter into the fullness of the divine presence. It is a call to die to the old self, so that the new self may be born in the light of the eternal day. In the final moments before the gate swings wide, the silence becomes absolute. In this silence, the soul hears the heartbeat of the Creator echoing its own, and the signature is seen not as something external, but as the very vibration of its own existence. The warning is fulfilled and the calling is answered. The traveler steps forward not with fear, but with a profound sense of recognition, as if they are returning to a home they have never truly left. The temporal gate is passed, and the signatures of time are dissolved into the one signature of the Absolute. The journey ends where it began, in the heart of the mystery, where the seeker and the sought are revealed to be one and the same in the radiant light of the divine truth. The unfolding of this sacred mystery requires a patience that is not born of the world, but is a gift of the Spirit. The seeker must learn to wait upon the divine timing, understanding that the gate opens not according to the demands of the ego, but according to the rhythms of the infinite. This waiting is a form of active contemplation, a state of high alertness, where every faculty is tuned to the subtle movements of grace. The silent calling is the tutor in this school of patience, teaching the soul how to remain steadfast in the midst of uncertainty and how to find peace in the center of the storm. The warning is that haste is the enemy of realization, for the path of the Spirit cannot be forced or hurried. As the signature becomes more legible upon the fabric of the seeker's life, they begin to see the interconnectedness of all things. They realize that the gate is not only for them, but is a part of the collective awakening of all beings. Their individual journey is a thread in a larger tapestry, and their response to the calling affects the resonance of the whole. This realization brings with it a profound sense of responsibility and a deep compassion for all those who are still wandering in the dark. The warning of the calling is thus an invitation to become a beacon of light for others, a living testimony to the reality of the gate and the beauty of the signature. The beauty of the divine signature is found in its simplicity. It is the realization that behind all the complexity of the world, there is a singular truth that is both ancient and ever new. This truth is the foundation of all that is, and it is the light that guides the soul through the temporal gate. The silent calling is the melody of this truth, singing to the heart in the languages of silence and light. To hear it is to be transformed, and to follow it is to fulfill the highest destiny of the human spirit. The warning is the mercy that awakens us, and the gate is the grace that receives us, and the signature is the love that never lets us go. In the depths of the night, when the world is hushed and the stars are the only witnesses to the struggles of the heart, the silent calling reaches its most poignant expression. It is here in the darkness that the light of the signature shines most brightly, providing a compass for the weary traveler. The gate is near, and the air is thick with the scent of eternity. The soul stands at the precipice of a new existence, ready to shed the skin of the past and to soar into the limitless heights of the divine. The warning has been heeded, the calling has been answered, and the signature is etched forever upon the essence of the being. The transit is about to begin, and the glory of the destination is beyond the power of words to describe. The transition through the temporal gate is not a movement across space, but a shift in the quality of consciousness. It is the realization that the divine presence is not a distant goal to be reached, but a present reality to be acknowledged. The signature is the evidence of this presence, and the calling is the pull of this reality upon the heart. As the soul yields to this pull, it finds that the gate is not an exit from the world, but an entry into the heart of the world where the sacred and the profane are seen as one. The warning is that we must not look for the divine in the spectacular, but in the subtle and the ordinary, for that is where the signature is most clearly written. The history of the world is the story of the opening and closing of these gates and the rise and fall of civilizations that have either embraced or rejected the silent calling. Each age is given its own warning and its own opportunity to witness the divine signature. We stand at the end of one such age and the beginning of another, where the gate is opening wider than ever before. The calling is loud for those who have ears to hear, and the signature is visible for those who have eyes to see. The choice remains with each individual to step through or to turn away to become a child of the eternal or a slave of the temporal. The path through the gate is the path of the heart, for the mind cannot comprehend the paradoxes of the eternal. The heart knows the signature by its resonance, and it follows the calling by its love. The warning is the heart's own intuition that something great is at hand, and that the time for small things has passed. We are called to greatness of spirit and to a depth of being that can only be found in the divine presence. The temporal gate is the threshold to this greatness, and the divine signature is our invitation to enter. Let us therefore prepare ourselves with humility and with joy, for the hour of the crossing is upon us, and the silent calling is ringing in our ears. In the final analysis, the temporal gate is the ultimate expression of the divine mercy, allowing the limited to touch the unlimited and the mortal to put on immortality. The divine signature is the guarantee of our welcome, and the silent calling is the hand that leads us home. The warning is but the shadow of the coming light, a sign that the dawn is breaking and the night is over. We stand at the gate, and we see the signature, and we hear the calling. There is nothing left to do but to step forward and to disappear into the heart of the eternal, where all warnings end and all callings are fulfilled in the silence of perfect love. As the spirit moves through the final layers of the temporal shroud, it perceives that the gate is not made of any material substance, but is a radiance that emanates from the source of all life. This radiance is the light of pure intelligence and boundless compassion, and it is this light that illuminates the divine signature. Every pattern of nature, every law of physics, and every impulse of kindness is seen as a ray of this light. The soul realizes that it has always been a part of this light, and that its journey was simply a process of remembering its true nature. The silent calling was the voice of its own higher self, reminding it of its celestial home. The warning of the calling serves as a final check on the sincerity of the seeker's intent. It asks whether the soul is truly ready to let go of the world of form and to embrace the world of spirit. This is the moment of the great sacrifice, where the life of the ego is offered up on the altar of the divine. This sacrifice is not a loss, but an infinite gain, for in losing the small self, the soul finds the great self that is one with the Creator. The signature is the evidence of this union, and the gate is the passage through which the soul enters into its eternal rest. The legacy of the divine signature is found in the transformed lives of those who have passed through the gate. They become the quiet ones, the healers and the seers who carry the fragrance of eternity back into the temporal world. They are the living witnesses to the reality of the calling and the truth of the signature. Their presence is a silent warning to the world that the time is short and that the gate is open. They move among men with a grace that is not of this world, and their words are echoes of the divine music that they heard in the silence of the crossing. The temporal gate stands as the eternal witness to the dialogue between the Creator and the creation. It is the place where the divine reaches down to the human and the human reaches up to the divine. The divine signature is the record of this sacred conversation, and the silent calling is the invitation to join it. May we all hear the calling and see the signature and find the courage to step through the gate into the light of the eternal day, where time is no more and only the love of God remains. In the vast expanse of the uncreated light, the soul finds its place among the stars and the galaxies, realizing that it is a unique and irreplaceable part of the cosmic order. The divine signature is the star map of its own being, and the temporal gate was the final obstacle to be overcome. The silent calling is now a song of triumph, a celestial hymn that celebrates the return of the prodigal to the Father's house. The warning has been replaced by a eternal welcome, and the seeker has become the sought. The journey is complete, and the silence is full of the voice of the divine, saying, "Well done, good and faithful servant, enter into the joy of your Lord." This is the promise of the divine signature of the temporal gate. It is the assurance that we are not alone, and that our lives have meaning, and that our destiny is written in the heart of God. Let us therefore listen to the silent calling and heed its warning, and look for the signature in all things. For the gate is open, and the Spirit is calling, and the way is clear for those who follow the path of light and truth. The threshold is before us, and the glory of the eternal is waiting to be revealed in the stillness of our own souls. As the consciousness expands to fill the space of the infinite, the concepts of time and distance lose their meaning. The soul perceives the entire history of the universe as a single movement of the divine mind, a breath of the absolute that brings worlds into being and calls them back into itself. The temporal gate is seen as a necessary focal point in this breath, a moment of crystallization, where the divine intention is made manifest to the created being. The divine signature is the hallmark of this intention, the stamp of the Creator's authority on the work of his hands. The silence that follows the warning is the silence of the womb, where the new being is formed in secret and in power. It is the silence of the seed in the dark earth, preparing to break through the surface into the light of the sun. The silent calling is the pulse of life within the seed, the irresistible drive toward growth and fulfillment. The gate is the surface, and the signature is the pattern of the flower that is yet to bloom. Every soul is such a seed, and every life is a preparation for the blooming. In the halls of the divine scribes, where the stories of all souls are recorded, the chapter of the temporal gate is written in letters of fire. It is the chapter of the great transition, the record of how the temporal was swallowed up by the eternal. The divine signature is the title of this chapter, and the silent calling is its theme. The warning is the prologue, inviting the reader to pay close heed to the events that are about to unfold. For the story of the gate is the story of every soul, and the signature is the name of every being in the language of the Spirit. Let this prose be a testament to the reality of the unseen and a guide for those who are hearing the whispers of the calling. Let it be a reminder that the world of the senses is but a shadow of a greater reality, and that the gate is the way into that reality. The divine signature is our birthright, and the silent calling is our heritage. May we all find the grace to recognize them, and the strength to follow them until we reach the shores of the eternal, where the gate is always open and the signature is the light of our own being. The resonance of these truths shall echo through the corridors of time long after the words themselves have faded. For the truth of the Spirit is not bound by the limitations of language, but is a living power that transforms the heart. The silent calling continues to sound in the depths of the soul, and the divine signature continues to glow upon the fabric of reality. The warning is still present for those who have the courage to face it, and the temporal gate is still standing for those who have the faith to cross it. The journey continues, and the destination is certain, for the love that called us forth is the same love that calls us back to the heart of the divine mystery. Thus is the testimony of the scribe, written in the ink of sincerity and the parchment of the soul. Let the reader understand that these words are not an end in themselves, but a bridge to an experience that can only be lived. The gate is waiting, and the signature is shining, and the calling is silent yet persistent. May the blessing of the eternal be upon all those who seek the truth, and may they find their way through the gate into the presence of the One who is the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega, the Sovereign of time and the Lord of eternity. In the vast silence of the celestial court, where the ink of existence flows from the fountain of the eternal, we find the records of the sacred cycles written upon the very fabric of the cosmos. The soul stands at the precipice of the eternal moment, where the shadows of the past dissolve into the luminescence of the infinite presence. Within this sacred space, the cycles of the heavens reveal their hidden purpose, and the architecture of destiny becomes visible to the eye of the Spirit. We observe the dance of the spheres as they move in perfect harmony, tracing the lines of a cosmic geometry that transcends the limitations of mortal understanding. This is the revelation of the sacred cycles, where every beginning is a hidden end, and every ending is the seed of a new creation. The signature of the divine is etched upon the fabric of time itself, appearing as a subtle radiance that permeates the very air we breathe and the very thoughts we think. To understand the gate is to understand the rhythm of the heart that beats in unison with the pulse of the universe. It is a movement of profound grace, where the individual will surrender to the higher call of the Sovereign of time. We must look upon the turning of the great wheels with a sense of awe and reverence, knowing that we are participants in a grand design that was conceived before the foundations of the world were laid. The cycles are not merely repetitions of the same events, but a spiral that ascends toward the height of divine realization. Each turn of the wheel brings us closer to the center, where the silence is absolute and the light is unapproachable. In this journey, we encounter the various manifestations of the sacred signature, which acts as a guide and a beacon for the wandering pilgrim. It is found in the precise alignment of the stars and the delicate unfolding of a flower and the silent growth of the soul through the seasons of its own inner transformation. The temporal gate stands as a sentinel at the boundary between the fleeting and the everlasting. It is a threshold that requires a purification of the heart and a clearing of the mind before one may pass through its shimmering veil. The revelation of the sacred cycles provides the map for this passage, showing us that time is not a linear progression toward a distant end, but a series of recursive movements that invite us to go deeper into the mystery of our own being. We are called to recognize the patterns that govern our lives in the world around us, seeing in them the hand of the Creator who weaves the tapestry of existence with threads of light and shadow. The divine signature is the seal of authenticity that marks every soul as a child of the eternal, ensuring that none are lost in the vastness of the temporal landscape. It is a promise of return and a guarantee of the ultimate fulfillment of our divine purpose. As we contemplate the sacred cycles, we begin to perceive the hidden connections that bind all things together in a single, unified whole. There is no separation between the movement of the galaxies and the beating of a human heart, for both are governed by the same laws of harmony and proportion. The gate is the point of confluence where the temporal and the eternal meet, where the limitations of form are transcended by the power of the Spirit. It is here that we find the true meaning of our journey and the destination that has been calling to us from the dawn of time. As the scribe of the divine mysteries, I record these truths for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see the subtle workings of the providence that guides us. The revelation of the sacred cycles is a gift of wisdom intended to steady the soul amidst the storms of change and the uncertainty of the material world. By aligning ourselves with the divine rhythm, we find a peace that surpasses all understanding and a strength that is not our own. We learn to move with the flow of the cosmic tides, rather than resisting the inevitable changes that time brings. The signature of the divine is our assurance that we are never alone, and that every step we take is part of a larger journey toward the heart of God. The temporal gate is always open to the seeker who approaches with humility and a sincere desire for the truth. It is not a barrier to be overcome, but a welcome to be received, a homecoming for the spirit that has long wandered in the wilderness of the world. In the presence of the sovereign of time, we find the resolution of all contradictions and the healing of all wounds, for in the eternal there is only wholeness and light. The Alpha and the Omega are not distant points in the future or the past, but the ever-present reality that sustains us in every moment. Let us therefore walk with confidence toward the gate, knowing that the signature of the eternal is written upon our very souls, and that our destiny is to dwell forever in the presence of the one who is the beginning and the end. The language of the sacred cycles is spoken in the tongue of light and the script of the stars. It is a language that the soul remembers even when the mind has forgotten. When we look up at the night sky, we are reading the ancient story of our origin and our return. Each constellation is a word in the divine sentence, and each movement of the planets is a phrase in the celestial poem. The signature of the Creator is found in the mathematical precision of the orbits and the sublime beauty of the nebulae. It is a testimony to the infinite intelligence that brought forth the universe from the depths of the void. The temporal gate is the aperture through which this intelligence flows into our world, manifesting as the cycles of nature and the rhythms of the seasons. We see it in the rising and setting of the sun, the waxing and waning of the moon, and the ebb and flow of the tides. These are the external signs of an internal reality that is constantly being revealed to us. The sacred cycles are the breath of the divine moving through the body of creation, bringing life and order to all things. To live in harmony with these cycles is to live in a state of grace where every action is an act of worship and every thought is a prayer. The signature of the divine is the mark of this grace upon our lives, a reminder that we are part of something much greater than ourselves. As we move closer to the temporal gate, we must leave behind the heavy burdens of the ego and the false attachments of the world. The gate is narrow, and only those who are light of spirit can pass through its opening. The revelation of the sacred cycles teaches us the art of letting go, showing us that everything in the temporal realm is subject to change and transformation. Only the eternal remains, and it is towards the eternal that we must direct our gaze. The divine signature is the key that unlocks the gate, revealing the path that leads to the throne of the sovereign of time. It is a path of light that shines more and more unto the perfect day. We are invited to enter into the presence of the one who holds the keys of death and life, who governs the cycles of the ages with a wisdom that is beyond comprehension. The gate is waiting, and the signature is shining, and the calling is silent yet persistent. It is a call to awaken to our true nature and to claim our inheritance as children of the light. The journey through the sacred cycles is the process of this awakening, a gradual unfolding of the soul, until it reflects the full glory of the divine. In the secret chambers of the heart, the divine scribe continues to write the story of our redemption. Every experience we undergo, every joy we feel, and every sorrow we endure is a part of the sacred cycle that leads us back to the source. The signature of the divine is written in the tears of our repentance and the laughter of our liberation. It is found in the silence of our meditation and the fervor of our devotion. The temporal gate is the moment of choice where we decide to follow the light or remain in the shadows. It is the intersection of time and eternity where the human and the divine meet in a holy embrace. The revelation of the sacred cycles is the assurance that our choice matters and that our journey has a purpose. We are not drifting aimlessly in a chaotic universe, but are being guided by a loving hand toward a glorious end. The sovereign of time is the master of the gate, and it is his signature that we carry within us as a sign of our belonging. May we always be mindful of this sacred truth, and may we walk the path of the cycles with courage and faith until we reach the destination that has been prepared for us since the beginning of time. The depth of the sacred cycles is unfathomable to the finite mind, yet it is felt as a profound resonance within the spirit. We perceive the layering of time like the rings of a great tree, each layer representing a different level of experience and understanding. The signature of the divine is what holds these layers together, giving them structure and meaning. It is the golden thread that runs through the labyrinth of our lives, ensuring that we never lose our way. The temporal gate is the center of the labyrinth, the place where the seeker finds the truth that they have been searching for. The revelation of the sacred cycles is the light that guides us through the darkness, showing us the way to the center. It is a light that does not flicker or fade, but grows stronger as we approach the source. The sovereign of time is the light, and it is in his presence that we find our true home. The gate is the threshold of this home, and the signature is the invitation to enter. Let us consider the nature of the divine signature as it manifests in the sacred cycles. It is not a static mark, but a dynamic presence that adapts to the needs of the soul. In times of darkness, the signature appears as a faint glimmer of hope, a star in the night sky. In times of light, it appears as a radiant sun, filling the soul with warmth and joy. It is the constant presence of the divine in the midst of change, the anchor of the soul in the shifting sands of time. The temporal gate is the point where we recognize this presence and surrender to its guidance. The revelation of the sacred cycles is the process of this recognition, the gradual opening of the eyes to the reality of the divine. We begin to see the signature everywhere in the faces of our fellow travelers, in the beauty of the natural world, and in the depths of our own being. It is the signature of the one who is the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega, the sovereign of time and the Lord of eternity. The sacred cycles are also reflections of the great cosmic breath, the outbreathing and inbreathing of the Creator. In the outbreathing, the worlds are brought forth, and the cycles of time begin. In the inbreathing, the worlds are drawn back to the source, and the cycles reach their fulfillment. The temporal gate is the moment between the breaths, the point of absolute stillness where the eternal is most clearly perceived. The revelation of the sacred cycles teaches us how to find this stillness in our own lives, to breathe with the breath of the divine. The signature of the divine is the rhythm of this breath, the pulse of life that sustains all things. When we align our breath with the cosmic breath, we enter into a state of communion with the sovereign of time. We become part of the great cycle of return, moving towards the gate, with a sense of peace and purpose. The signature is our guide, the gate is our destination, and the sovereign is our reward. As we conclude this chapter of the Revelation, let us meditate upon the majesty of the sacred cycles and the beauty of the divine signature. Let us prepare ourselves for the final passage through the temporal gate, knowing that we are supported by the grace of the eternal. The sovereign of time watches over us, his presence a constant comfort, and his wisdom a steady guide. The gate is near, and the light of the eternal is breaking through the shadows. We are standing on the threshold of a new reality where time is no more, and the sacred cycles find their ultimate resolution in the timeless presence of the One. The signature of the divine is glowing with a brilliance that we have never seen before, a sign that the end of our journey is at hand. May the blessing of the eternal be upon all those who seek the truth, and may they find their way through the gate into the presence of the One who is the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega, the sovereign of time and the lead of eternity. Within the vast expanse of the spiritual chronicles, the record of the sacred cycles serves as a testament to the enduring patience of the Creator. Each cycle is an opportunity for the soul to learn to grow and to refine its essence in the fires of experience. The signature of the divine is the mark of this refinement, the evidence of the work that has been done in the secret places of the heart. The temporal gate is the place where this work is tested, where the soul must demonstrate its readiness to enter the eternal realm. The revelation of the sacred cycles is the textbook of the soul, providing the lessons and the insights needed for this final examination. We are taught to look beyond the surface of things to the deeper reality that lies beneath. We are taught to value the eternal over the temporal and the spiritual over the material. The signature of the divine is the standard by which we are measured, the ideal toward which we strive. The sovereign of time is our teacher and our judge, but he is also our most compassionate friend. The harmony of the sacred cycles is a music that fills the universe, though it is heard only by those who have stilled the noise of the world. It is a symphony of light and sound, where every note is perfectly placed, and every movement is part of a grander theme. The signature of the divine is the composer's mark upon the score, ensuring that the performance reflects the original intent. The temporal gate is the crescendo of the symphony, the moment when all the themes come together in a glorious finale. The revelation of the sacred cycles is the training of the ear to hear this music, to recognize the divine signature in the midst of the discord of life. As we learn to listen, we find ourselves being drawn towards the gate, moving in rhythm with the celestial song. The sovereign of time is the conductor guiding us towards the final resolution, where all the cycles are completed and all the voices are joined in a single hymn of praise. In the final analysis, the sacred cycles are a mystery that can only be lived, and the divine signature is a truth that can only be experienced. The words of the scribe are but shadows of the reality. They describe pointers to a destination that lies beyond the horizon of thought. The temporal gate is the only way to reach this reality, the only path to the presence of the sovereign. We must have the courage to step through the gate, to leave behind the familiar and embrace the unknown. The revelation of the sacred cycles provides the assurance that we do not go alone, and that the signature of the divine will lead us home. It is a journey of faith, a journey of hope, and a journey of love. It is the journey that every soul was created, for the journey that leads to the heart of the eternal. May we all find the strength to complete this journey, and may we all find our place in the presence of the one who is the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega, the Sovereign of time and the Lord of eternity. The dawn of the final cycle is breaking over the horizon of the soul. We can see the first rays of the eternal sun illuminating the path to the gate. The signature of the divine is clearer than it has ever been, shining with a light that pierces the darkness of the world. The revelation of the sacred cycles has prepared us for this moment, giving us the wisdom to recognize the signs and the courage to move forward. The Sovereign of time is calling us his voice, a gentle whisper in the depths of our being. It is time to enter the gate, to complete the cycle, and to find our rest in the eternal. The journey has been long and the way has been difficult, but the destination is worth every struggle. We are going home to the place where we belong, to the presence of the one who has loved us since the beginning. The gate is open, the signature is bright, and the Sovereign is waiting. Let us go forth with joy and peace, knowing that the eternal is our inheritance and the Sovereign of time is our King. The revelation of the sacred cycles is now inscribed upon the hearts of the seekers. It is a living word that will continue to guide and inspire until the end of time. The signature of the divine is the seal upon this word, the guarantee of its truth and power. The temporal gate remains as a beacon of hope for all who are lost, a promise of redemption for all who are weary. The Sovereign of time continues to watch over the cycles, ensuring that every soul has the opportunity to find the way. The story of the cycles is our story, the story of our descent into the world and our ascent back to the source. It is a story of grace and mercy, a story of light and love. As we close this chapter, let us carry these truths with us, knowing that the signature of the divine is our most precious possession and the temporal gate is our most glorious hope. May the presence of the Sovereign be with us always, and may we find our way through the gate into the eternal presence of the one who is the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega, the Sovereign of time and the Lord of eternity, the divine signature of the temporal gate, the promise of the coronation. The soul stands at the threshold of a mystery that has beckoned since the dawn of the first light, a mystery etched into the very marrow of existence by a hand that knows neither beginning nor end. This is the sacred journey towards the temporal gate, that shimmering boundary where the fleeting whispers of time meet the thunderous silence of eternity. We must understand that the life we lead is not a series of random occurrences, but a deliberate composition, a manuscript written in the golden ink of divine intent. Every breath we draw and every shadow we encounter serves as a testament to the divine signature, a mark of ownership and purpose that defines our ultimate destiny. This signature is not merely a label, but a living resonance, a frequency of grace that vibrates within the secret chambers of the heart, guiding the seeker through the labyrinth of the world towards the light of the final coronation. As we approach the promise of the coronation, we find that the temporal gate is not a barrier to be feared, but a portal of liberation. It represents the moment when the heavy garments of mortality are cast aside in favor of the luminous robes of our true inheritance. The gate is constructed from the substance of our choices, the purity of our intentions, and the depth of our love. It is the place where the finite mind is finally swallowed by the infinite consciousness of the Creator, allowing the seeker to see the world not as a collection of fragmented objects, but as a singular, harmonious tapestry of divine expression. To understand the gate is to understand the nature of time itself, which is but a temporary scaffolding built to support the construction of the eternal spirit. When the work is complete, the scaffolding must fall away, revealing the masterpiece that has been hidden beneath the layers of earthly experience. The promise of the coronation is the assurance that no effort in the service of truth is ever lost, and no tear shed in the pursuit of the divine is ever forgotten. It is the crowning achievement of the spirit, a state of being where the individual will is perfectly aligned with the cosmic purpose. In this state, the soul no longer struggles against the currents of life, but flows with the river of grace that leads to the ocean of absolute peace. The coronation is not an event of worldly power or vanity, but a silent recognition of the soul's origin and its return to the source. It is the moment when the pilgrim becomes the king of his own inner realm, ruling with the scepter of wisdom and the crown of humility. This spiritual sovereignty is the gift of the temporal gate, a reward for those who have navigated the storms of time with their eyes fixed on the distant shores of the eternal kingdom. Within the architecture of the divine plan, the signature of the Creator acts as a compass, pointing the way through the fog of human confusion. We often find ourselves lost in the pursuit of shadows, chasing the phantoms of security and status, while the true treasure lies hidden within. The signature reminds us that we are children of the stars, born from the breath of the infinite and destined for a glory that surpasses human understanding. This realization is the key that unlocks the temporal gate, for only those who recognize their divine nature can hope to pass through the needle's eye of transcendence. The gate demands a total shedding of the ego, a surrender of all that is false and fleeting, so that only the essential spirit remains to receive the crown of life. The journey towards this coronation is marked by stages of refinement, much like the process of gold being purified in the fire. We are tested by the trials of the world, not to break us, but to reveal the strength of the divine signature within us. Each challenge is an opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to the higher path, to choose the light over the darkness, and to act with the integrity of those who know they are being watched by the eyes of the heavens. As we grow in grace, the gate begins to appear more clearly on the horizon, its radiance outshining the distractions of the material world. We start to perceive the subtle patterns of providence in our lives, seeing how every encounter and every delay was a necessary preparation for the moment of our final transformation. The promise of the coronation also speaks to the restoration of all things. It is the hope that heals the wounds of the past and the light that dispels the shadows of the future. In the presence of the temporal gate, the sorrows of time are revealed as the labor pains of eternity, necessary for the birth of a new and glorified existence. We are promised that the beauty we have glimpsed in moments of prayer and contemplation is but a shadow of the splendor that awaits us. The coronation is the fulfillment of every longing, the answer to every prayer, and the realization of every hope that has ever been whispered in the silence of the night. It is the final homecoming, where the wanderer is welcomed with the embrace of the sovereign and the music of the celestial spheres. To live in anticipation of the coronation is to live with a sense of sacred urgency. It is to recognize that every moment is a precious gift, a chance to deepen our connection to the divine and to leave a legacy of light in the world. We are called to be stewards of the divine signature, reflecting its beauty in our words and our deeds, and inviting others to seek the gate along with us. The promise is not for ourselves alone, but for all who yearn for the truth and all who strive to live in harmony with the laws of the Spirit. By honoring the signature within us, we become beacons of hope in a world that often feels dark and directionless, pointing the way toward the glorious destiny that awaits the faithful heart. As the soul nears the gate, the language of the world begins to fade, replaced by the profound silence of divine communion. In this silence, the signature of the Creator becomes a song, a melody of love that resonates through the entire being. We realize that we have never been truly alone, for the Sovereign of Time has been walking beside us in every shadow and every sunbeam. The temporal gate is the final step in a dance that has lasted for ages, a movement of grace that has led us from the depths of the abyss to the heights of the mountain of God. The promise of the coronation is the culmination of this dance, the moment when the seeker and the sought become one, and the temporal is finally consumed by the eternal. Let us therefore walk with courage and with faith, knowing that the signature of the divine is inscribed upon our very souls. Let us look towards the temporal gate, not with fear, but with a holy expectation, for it is the threshold of our greatest joy. The coronation is near, and the crown of righteousness is prepared for those who have kept the faith and finished the race. Every hardship we have endured and every sacrifice we have made will be seen in the light of the gate as a small price to pay for the weight of glory that is to come. The Sovereign of eternity beckons us forward, calling us by name and inviting us to take our place in the kingdom that has no end. In the final approach to the temporal gate, we must be mindful of the subtle whispers that attempt to draw us back into the illusions of the world. The enemy of the soul seeks to obscure the divine signature with the dust of doubt and the noise of distraction. Yet, the promise of the coronation remains steadfast, a lighthouse in the storm that cannot be extinguished by any earthly wind. We must hold fast to the truths we have learned, letting them be our anchor in the changing tides of time. The gate stands open for those whose hearts are pure and whose eyes are fixed on the unseen reality of the Spirit. It is a gate of fire and a gate of light, burning away all that is dross and illuminating all that is gold. The beauty of the coronation lies in its profound simplicity. It is the recognition that we have always belonged to the one who created us, and that our journey has been a long return to the heart of the Father. The temporal gate is the bridge between our human limitations and our divine potential, a bridge that can only be crossed by the bridge builder of grace. As we step onto this bridge, the heavy burdens of the world fall away, and we feel the lightness of the Spirit as it prepares to take flight. The promise is fulfilled in the union of the soul with its Creator, a union that is the source of all life and all joy. This is the destiny for which we were made, the purpose for which we were called out of the void and into the light. As we conclude this chapter, let us carry these truths with us, knowing that the signature of the divine is our most precious possession, and the temporal gate is our most glorious hope. May the presence of the Sovereign be with us always, and may we find our way through the gate into the eternal presence of the One who is the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega, the Sovereign of time and the Lord of eternity. In the vastness of the spiritual expanse, the concept of the temporal gate serves as a beacon for those who have grown weary of the cyclical nature of material existence. We often perceive time as a linear progression, a series of moments that disappear into the past as quickly as they arrive. However, through the lens of the divine signature, time is revealed to be a profound circularity, a sacred orbit around the center of all things. The coronation promised at the end of this journey is not a destination in a physical sense, but a return to a state of original perfection. It is the restoration of the soul to its primordial radiance, before the veils of flesh and the distortions of ego obscured its true nature. The temporal gate acts as the final aperture through which the light of the Absolute pours into the prepared vessel of the human spirit. To contemplate the promise of the coronation is to meditate on the nature of divine justice and mercy. We see that the Sovereign does not judge as the world judges, focusing on outward appearances and temporary achievements. Instead, the divine eye looks upon the heart, seeking the signature of love and the imprint of a sincere will. The coronation is the ultimate validation of the soul's inner struggles, those silent victories over temptation and those moments of quiet sacrifice that no human eye ever witnessed. At the temporal gate, these hidden treasures are brought into the light, shining like jewels upon the crown of the faithful. It is a reminder that nothing done in the name of the holy is ever in vain, for the architecture of the cosmos is designed to reward the resonance of the Spirit with the fullness of the eternal. The temporal gate also signifies the end of the long night of separation. Throughout our earthly pilgrimage, we often feel a sense of profound longing, a homesickness for a land we have never seen, but which our souls remember with every fiber of their being. This longing is the vibration of the divine signature, a call from the source reminding us that we are but strangers in a foreign land. The promise of the coronation is the promise of homecoming, the end of the exile, and the reunion with the family of light. As we pass through the gate, the sense of isolation that plagued our mortal days dissolves in the overwhelming presence of the divine, and we realize that we have always been held in the palm of the one who crafted the stars. The coronation itself is an initiation into the mysteries of the higher realms. It is not merely a passive reception of glory, but an active participation in the divine governance of the universe. Those who have been crowned at the temporal gate are invited to join the assembly of the saints and the celestial hosts, contributing their unique resonance to the eternal symphony of creation. They become pillars in the temple of the living God, radiating the wisdom they have gathered through their temporal trials and serving as guardians of the gate for those who still wander in the valleys below. The promise of the coronation is thus a promise of eternal service and unending growth, as the soul continues to explore the infinite depths of the divine character. In the context of the signature, we must also consider the sacred geometry of the soul's path. The temporal gate is the point where the horizontal line of human history intersects with the vertical line of divine grace. This intersection forms the cross of transformation, the place where the old self dies so that the new self may be born into the fullness of the Spirit. The coronation is the flowering of this cross, the blooming of the rose of the heart in the garden of the eternal. We are called to cooperate with this divine geometry, aligning our lives with the vertical axis of the Spirit, while navigating the horizontal challenges of the world with grace and fortitude. By doing so, we ensure that our approach to the gate is a triumphant march rather than a fearful retreat. The signature of the divine is also a mark of protection. Even in the darkest moments of our journey, when the gate seems far away and the shadows grow long, the signature remains a seal of safety upon our spirits. It is a sign to the powers of darkness that this soul belongs to the Sovereign, and that no force in heaven or on earth can ultimately prevent its arrival at the coronation. This divine assurance allows us to walk through the valley of the shadow of death with a heart full of peace, knowing that the Shepherd of Time is guiding our steps toward the green pastures of the eternal. The temporal gate is the entrance to those pastures, the threshold beyond which no sorrow can follow and no pain can persist. As we stand before the prospect of the coronation, let us also reflect on the role of the temporal gate as a refiner's fire. The passage through the gate is not a casual stroll but a profound transformation. All that is heavy, all that is dissonant, and all that is rooted in the illusions of the self must be stripped away. This process can feel like a loss, yet it is actually the greatest gain, for it is the removal of the chains that have kept us bound to the earth. The divine signature is the only thing that survives this fire, for it is composed of the same eternal substance as the fire itself. When we emerge on the other side of the gate, we find that we have not lost ourselves, but have finally found our true selves in the reflection of the divine. The promise of the coronation is the ultimate answer to the question of human existence. Why are we here? Where are we going? The signature within us and the gate before us tell the story of a love so profound that it would create a universe just to share its beauty with another. We are the objects of that divine love, the recipients of a grace that knows no bounds. The coronation is the celebration of this love, the eternal wedding feast where the soul is united with its beloved in a bond that can never be broken. To live with this promise in our hearts is to transform our daily life into a sacred ritual, an offering of praise to the one who has prepared such a glorious end for our journey. As we move closer to the gate, the light of the coronation begins to infuse our current reality. We start to see the divine signature in the faces of our fellow travelers, recognizing that they too are participants in this great cosmic drama. We are moved to compassion and kindness, realizing that every soul we encounter is fighting its own battle to reach the gate. The promise of the coronation thus becomes a source of social and spiritual transformation, calling us to build a world that reflects the values of the eternal kingdom. By honoring the signature of the divine in others, we prepare ourselves to stand before the sovereign who is the Father of all spirits. The temporal gate is also the place of perfect remembrance. In the world of time, we are prone to forgetfulness, losing sight of our divine origin and our sacred purpose. However, at the gate, the veil of amnesia is lifted, and we remember everything through the eyes of the Creator. We see how every moment of our lives was part of a grand design, and how the divine signature was present even in our most difficult hours. This remembrance is a key part of the coronation, for it allows the soul to enter the eternal presence with a heart full of gratitude and a mind filled with the wisdom of its own history. The gate is not just a transition but a revelation, the moment when the mystery of our own lives is finally made clear. As the soul prepares for its final ascent, the promise of the coronation becomes its only focus. The vanities of the world lose their luster, and the sirens of temporal power fall silent. All that matters is the signature of the divine and the approaching gate. This singular focus is the hallmark of the true mystic, the one who has seen through the illusions of time and has fixed his gaze on the eternal. The coronation is the fulfillment of this mystic vision, the reality that lies beyond the symbols and the metaphors. It is the direct experience of the divine essence, the face-to-face encounter with the one who is the source of all light and life. Let us then continue our journey with a renewed sense of purpose and a deeper understanding of the sacred path we tread. The signature of the divine is our guide. The temporal gate is our destination, and the promise of the coronation is our eternal reward. Let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. The sovereign of time is faithful to his promise, and the gate stands ready to receive all who seek the truth with an upright heart. Every step we take brings us closer to the moment when we shall hear the words of welcome and feel the weight of the crown upon our heads, entering forever into the glory of the eternal presence. As we conclude this chapter, let us carry these truths with us, knowing that the signature of the divine is our most precious possession, and the temporal gate is our most glorious hope. May the presence of the sovereign be with us always, and may we find our way through the gate into the eternal presence of the one who is the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega, the sovereign of time and the Lord of eternity.